Hello beautifuls, welcome back to the channel. If you're new, welcome. I am Benji if you did not know, and I'm going to be doing a tarot reading today. I'm not going to be doing a previous channeled message before this reading today, so just kind of like doing spur of the moment. We're going to pick up my cards, see what comes through, and just go with the flow today. So let me know down below if you resonate today, if the message is for you. If the message is not for you, then it's just not for you. Leave it for whoever it is for. And let us see what is coming through, please. Alright, so our first card is the King of Cups. The King of Cups is one of my favorite cards to come out because it's representing somebody that is emotionally stable, someone that is very grounded, and they are, even though there is a lot of emotions and a lot of waviness going on around them, they're still like sitting on top of that and staying grounded so that it doesn't pick them up and make them flow in a way that is going to create distortion. That's kind of what I'm getting from the first card. So this is really representing that person. And we have the Three of Wands in reversed and the Hanged Man in reversed. So there is this sense of projection from the old field, the false field, the false grid, whatever you want to call it, that there is no growth, there is no expansion, and there's like no hope for that. But ultimately for the old grid, there is no expansion, no growth. So this projection likes to come over the true line, and it is trying to project over your space or over you, but you're sitting in this emotionally seated, grounded place. You know, you're not allowing that to take over. The Hanged Man in reverse really gives a sense of things being kind of like stalled or like put on hold, not even hung in place. Like I normally look at this card like it's something being hung, right? So it's a hang, so it's like hang time. Say in a computer, if something's hung, then it's basically stalled or glitched out, like it's not moving. So essentially this gives me movement. It gives me the opposite of that. There is this movement that is taking place, but it would probably appear to be like something's hanging in place. So it's like a weird distortion or projection overlay trying to make it look like nothing is moving while something is moving. What is moving? What is this thing that is moving? The Ace of Cups in reversed and the Magician in reversed. Okay, so what I'm gathering from this reading today is that there is a lot of projection and a lot of overlay coming in, but that overlay is only for the old line. So the old line would be that there is no movement, and this thing has been hung in place. The Ace of Cups is this like a new opportunity of connection or something coming in that has like a cup that can be offered to you. That is not coming in for the old line. And the Magician in reverse would be like no form of manifestation. So this is stagnation. So for the true line here, the true line is actively expanding, not being hung in place. There is openings. There are new openings forming here. Soft openings of connection. And the Magician would show that there is manifestation taking place. Like it's a new space of manifestation. And with this manifestation needs action. So you can't just like essentially think about something happening and then it happens. Like this isn't the kind of manifestation that I'm getting today. This is like slow, purposeful action creates manifestation and the movement forward to where you want to go. So that's kind of what I'm getting from this. The old line is ultimately stuck in the past, and it is on loop, on repeat, and it's trying to project over the true line that that it's not just it or them that are in that situation, that it's everyone in the whole entire situation of the collective. But at this point, there is ultimately above all of the options, all of the false offers, all of the fake narratives, all of the twisted narratives, all of the options, above that there is two groups. There is the true line and the old line, and essentially it comes down to that. It's not being divided, but it is a divide. It's like a split, but it's not like being divided like you gotta attack each other. It's not that kind of energy. It's just giving you the sense of alignment. You either align with the old structure or you align with this new structure that is emerging. So there's always two sides to these readings when I do them. And we have the Knight of Swords in reversed. The old line is actually trying to send a lot of energy towards the true line. So there is a lot of adversarial kind of energy from that side because they're frustrated. They're so annoyed that the true line is moving and they aren't. So there is this sense of like, not remorse, it's, what is the word? It is like adversarial. Like they wish that they were in the true line's position, but they don't want to do the heavy work. They don't want to do the Hermit here. So the Hermit is coming out after this card of the Knight of Swords in reversed. The Hermit is really showing the inward work. They don't want to look at what's true and do the work to actually move towards the true line. They either want to spiritual bypass to try to get to that place, which won't work. It's written into the code that it will not work. Or they want the answers. So it's like, it's interesting here. Like the old line really is trying to fish for like answers and a way to bypass, or just a way to learn something that they don't want to learn in the Hermit mode. So like the Hermit here is being told to go inward, but they refuse to go inward because it's so scary to them that if they go inward, then they get to see the true version of their consciousness in themselves and what's in reality, instead of the illusions that they are moving through. There is this sense of, I had a dream last night. It's very specific to me, I think, in the sense that it was like a dream where I was appointed like the headmaster of like a school, but it wasn't a normal school. It was like a school for like business people and politicians and the elites, and like a whole lot of people were in my dream, and they were all complaining at me. They were all like, how do we do this? How do we do that? You need to solve this for us. And I woke up and I was like, stupid dream, like that's not my problem. So at the end of the day, I think what the message is there is that like, don't take on the burden of the old structure, because it's trying to offload that onto the true line. It's trying to offload that onto someone that has already done the work, and trying to place you in a position in its old structure so that it can try to get into the new world, like through the gate into the new structure, the true line ultimately. So this kind of lines up with the reading that I did the other day. If you want to go check that out, if you like, you don't have to, but that's kind of like what I'm getting from that dream. It kind of like ties into this a little bit. I feel like the true line, because it is holding the authority in the field now, the old structure is trying to offload its burden onto it. So that's kind of what I'm getting a little bit from this reading. It's like the true line structure, the true line collective is probably feeling feeling like that's kind of like a burden, but it's not yours to carry. We have the Three of Pentacles and then Death in reversed. So the Three of Pentacles here is showing the collective structure. This is basically what I'm getting from this card. It's just like a collective social structure. And then Death in reverse is giving that sense of like, it's interesting that this is becoming more of like knowing exactly what's happening in the old line. The true line is obviously sitting in expansion, growth, manifestation, moving forward. But the old line is sitting in this death cycle that has already completed but is being refused to be completed. So it's like carrying something on past its due date. You know, like imagine ending something but carrying it on for another 6 months. It doesn't get any better. If anything, that cycle turns into a downward spiral. So that's kind of what I'm getting for the old line collective. It's like a downward spiral, starting to downward spiral. The longer it's been ignored, this death. And then the Ace of Swords is coming out. So truth is really ultimately all that matters in the new world. It's not all that matters, but it is a big key component to the true line. That's why it's called the true line, because truth is the key to moving along that line. It's not the only thing, but it is the main thing. And the Ace of Swords here is ultimately like, I always take that as a confirmation of what I'm saying is like the truth. And the truth has been spoken. Kind of vibe like the sword of truth. And that's ultimately how I kind of see that card. I will pull like 2 more cards, and I think then I'm good. With the Page of Swords, yeah. So what I'm getting from this is the true line. The true line is holding that truth current. The Page of Swords is seeing the Eight of Wands. So the Eight of Wands is like fast movement. There is a lot of energy flowing towards the true line, so active pushing of a lot of narratives towards it. But the true line is actively being able to discern what is right, what is real, what is distorted, what is fake, what is wrong. And essentially that truth sword from the true line helps slice through the distorted movement with the Eight of Wands here. So it's like, it's kind of just very similar to how it's been for a long time when it comes to this situation, except for the movement here at the beginning is very much looking at the true line and looking at how this movement is really taking place. So we're looking at very small signs of moving forward with manifestation, expansion, and the feeling, and there's a discernment feeling, like you know that things are moving even though they may not look like it on the surface. One last card for good luck. And we have the Page of Cups in reversed. So this one here is giving the energy of a projection from the old line. The old line is experiencing no new openings, no offerings, you know, like no new messages. It's all just kind of like a loop. They're like varnishing. I'm going to say that, re-varnishing old messages into new ones. You know, like taking varnish and making wood look new. So they're taking these old messages, they're like re-scrambling them up and making them look new and fresh, but they're actually not new messages. They're just old messages that have been maybe like improved on in the way that they're using a different language. And I think this language is the true line language. And they're trying to incorporate that into the old world framing and offerings. So there's truly no new messages going out to the old line when it comes to the channeled state. So if you have noticed also that there is a lot of what they call psychic mediums saying that they can't see into the future anymore, or they feel like they've lost their visions or lost this, and there's a lot of like people losing their abilities. That is ultimately a physical manifestation of what is actually happening in the old line. That's ultimately, that's basically like there was a message that I posted like the beginning of this year, and I think it was called like why your manifestation is no longer working, or why your magic is no longer working, or something. And that's essentially the video that I was talking about, how that's what we're probably going to see soon. And it's kind of what I'm saying. Like, I've seen like a bunch of videos in the last couple of days of people talking about how they're losing their ability, and they're freaking out. And this is ultimately because it's been cut off, and the old line is being cut off from the channel to true source. And I'm not talking about just like any old source, no deities, no middlemen. This is their connection that they were tapping into, to true source. And that is because they would tap into that line and they would distort the messages, and they were pushing them out to people and leading people astray. And essentially that is why their connection is being disconnected. And a lot of, like, if you start noticing the repetition in messages, but they're just changing their word structure, then that is basically the same thing. These people are probably a little bit better at manipulating messages and words and stuff to keep people coming back and, you know, staying in the same cycles. But that's ultimately what's happening. The channel has been cut, and it has been cut for a while now, and it's becoming very visible. And the truth here is the thing that is coming through. So over the next few months, maybe even next 6 months, you will start noticing that the truth will start being recognized more so than the false line. And I don't know, maybe you've also noticed that a lot of people are commenting on a lot of people's pages and messages and stuff, and they are calling these people out now. So it's no longer a thing of like just accepting or saying nothing. Like, a lot of people are actually starting to call out the distortion. So that's the message that's coming through today. Obviously, a bunch of that was channeled, and a bunch of it was also read through the cards. If you did get something from it, then let me know. Like the video, subscribe if you want to be part of this channel. Obviously, the true line is very welcome here. The old line, you can attempt to try to join with the true line, but without doing the true, honest, inward work on your own. There's really no ability to join to something that does not join with it. So when I talk about joining, the true line is here, truth. Distortion over here, old world. Okay, so those two things no longer join, whereas before they were joined. Now they're separate, and if the distortion tries to come and join to the true line, it rebounds and it creates like an echo loop for itself. So I'm literally giving some advice here. Obviously, if you notice that you're surrounded by distortion and that you're starting to recognize it for yourself, don't hate yourself for it, because at the end of the day, it's kind of like how the whole system was set up to trick you. Just kind of like accept it, go inward, and figure out the actual truth of yourself. You don't need to go outward anymore. Like, going outward is one of those things that I don't really recommend anymore. A lot of people say that, but outward is outside of yourself. Inward is inside of yourself. And taking time in the hermit mode is a healthy thing for moving towards the true line, because truth is ultimately how you start moving along the true line and getting to that gate so you can walk through it. Anyways, take care, and I will see you in another one whenever it wants to come through. Bye-bye.